There are multiple things that cause this culture of child rape. One of the things is pornography. Another is Alfred Kinsey. Back in the 1950s, he was a self-described sadomasochistic pedophile whose own genitals were mutilated due to what he preferred sexually. So his mind was sick.
Child sex trafficking in the United States really begins back earlier than most people understand. In 1970s, we already had a major campaign in the United States on the issue of child sexual abuse and trafficking, but we didn't call it trafficking at that time.
Dr. Judith Reisman is the founder of the Reisman Institute, which is dedicated to exposing and debunking Alfred Kinsey's fraudulent so-called science regarding child sexuality. She is internationally recognized as an expert witness on human sexuality.
I would have to say the Kinsey reports laid the scientific foundation for abusing kids. In 1948, the groundwork was laid. There was Sexual Behavior in the Human Male, which was Alfred Kinsey wrote Sexual Behavior in the Human Male, funded by the Rockefeller Foundation, supported across the board by Planned Parenthood, all came together with that. So Sexual Behavior in the Human Male. Then in 1953, Sexual Behavior in the Human Female. There was no field of human sexuality education before Kinsey. None. We had the common law, that was based our laws on. It was biblical, okay. When Kinsey came on board, half the states in the Union gave the death penalty, could give the death penalty for rape. The other half, life in prison. Now we have all these feminists, properly complaining that rape is treated, in a casual way. Well, this all comes from something. It all emerges out of something. And that something, that kind of dehumanization that is picked up by the media from the academic world, pushed through the schools, through first just the universities, then the junior high schools, the high schools, then now the kindergarten, all that then lays the groundwork for where we are.
It seems like a percentage of Americans perceive Kinsey as someone who opened up the discussion for sexuality and that was a good thing. But what I think a lot of them fail to see is that he was a sadomasochistic pedophile, and what he did was horrific. And so his studies were falsified, and since they were, it seems to me like his studies and the doctrine that have followed need to be gone back, reversed, denounced, disavowed, and replaced by more wholesome and healthy real science, whatever that actually is, but not to take the falsified studies of a sick mind and accept that as science.
You're talking about a man who, he didn't just use images of children, he used real children. He used real children, and he had charts and graphs of orgasms that a child was supposed to have an orgasm, a 5-year-old, a 4-month-old. One was a 4-year-old that allegedly had 26 orgasms in 24 hours. Now that's around the clock experiment, right? So this was research that was established and was believed by the American public, by the whole world, really. And the whole thesis behind his research was that children are sexual from birth. Children are sexual from birth, which then gets funneled into the mindset of the public, and it becomes the foundation of human sexuality education. Hugh Hefner, at age 22, he was a virgin in college. He read Kinsey, and that radicalized him. He said, oh, Kinsey's the scientist. I will be Kinsey's pamphleteer. So what comes out of Playboy is the stream of pornography, which is at the base of your trafficking world, absolutely. the stream of pornography. 15 years later, we got Penthouse. 10 years after that, we got Hustler, and then it hasn't stopped, right? But the impetus for that came from the academic world, came from Dr. Alfred Kinsey's fraudulent data.
And look at all the harm it's caused.
Enormous harm. Alfred Kinsey should have been arrested, so should all his teammates have been arrested. The Kinsey Institute's still alive and still educating the public. And now we are seeing the explosion, and the end result is the massive abuse of children, as well as directly related, the trafficking of children, because you can't separate the grooming of children from the trafficking of children.